Hi guys, welcome to my twenties platform. Thank you for always engaging with our content. We've seen your feedback, especially on the testimonials and vox pop, and we know the kind of things you like. If you're new to our channel, my twenties is basically a platform where we share ideas concerning issues that relate to people in their twenties. So we talk about different things, ranging from finance, marriage, relationships, health, everything basically that affects our day-to-day activities. So if you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe, like, and share our videos, and also drop your comments. On today's episode, we're going to be doing something different that we've not done so far. We're going to be doing a book review, but it's different from your regular book reviews because today we have the author of the book. But before I introduce him, I would like to talk about this book. So I think about 2 weeks ago, I saw this book. I actually read the e-copy, and when I just saw just before 30s, I was wondering, okay, what could this be about? And knowing what this platform is about, I'm like, okay, maybe I could get a few nuggets or something from it. And just from the preface alone that I read, I was like, okay, this is very, very deep, like deeper than deep, if there's anything like that. And knowing that everything in this book talks about things we've talked here and even things that we're yet to share, it just means it's something I would recommend to anyone in their 20s. But I don't want to give any spoilers. So I'll first like for the author of Just Before 30s to please introduce himself.
All right. My name is Akinyemi Akinwole. I don't know how to introduce myself. What I do, I into buildings, constructions, branding. I'm married. I I think that's about it. I'm also very committed to the things of God, basically. So yeah.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
honoring us.
Thank you very much for the invite.
Is this your first book?
Yeah, absolutely my first book.
Okay. What was your thought process behind it?
Okay, so I think that I shared it in the book. I've lived, I don't want to call it an extraordinary life, but so while I was growing up, I came from a background which is basically quite spiritual, or like a really like a deeply rooted Christian background. And so when I went to school, I had the opportunity to explore, and then I saw other things. So I saw like different perspectives to life, and I just wanted to, in my little way, give back. So I wrote basically what I did in the book was wrote my most striking life experiences, and I just put some advices, and then I packaged it and I put it in the book.
Interesting. Now you wrote this before your 30s, I guess.
Yes, I launched it on my 30th birthday.
So it's a sum total of all of your experiences in your 20s.
Yes,
basically.
yeah, actually. Yeah.
Interesting. So when I read through the preface, the story of the boy whose mom rushed, to justice, and then she gave you a background as to how the boy had dropped out from school and there was into drugs. When I was reading it, I just started like remembering key stages in my life where I've made like mistakes that could almost destroy me, and then it occurred to me, is it that that was something that was peculiar to people in their 20s where they could easily go astray or something?
Yeah. So like because of the background that I explained that I came from,
Yeah.
or that I come from, it was more derailing for me. But then for some other people, it was their normal lifestyle. So I met people that's how they grew up. But I feel that your 20s, especially if you are serious about life, your 20s is like a formative period for you. And the more mistakes you make, the more experienced you become. But there are some mistakes that are very detrimental. Some mistakes might affect your mental health and you might not recover from it. Some mistake might affect your relationship outlook. There are some people now that they believe that all men has come. So it affects every relationship, and it's because of the experiences that they've had in their growing years. So most times people make mistakes, except if you want to stay in your comfort zone all the time.
Sure.
But then if you step out, like while I stepped out was when I knew that not everyone has a good mind, not everybody is good. Before now I used to think, oh, I'm nice to you, so I expect you to be nice to me. That's not possible. When you get to, they call it the streets. If you get to the streets, you have to act like a street guy too, because everybody is smart, so you have to use your brain. You don't have to wear your, I don't know if they say you wear your heart on your sleeves or something, so but you have to be, so they will say you have to be street smart. So basically you have to, growing up or in that stage, there's no way you not make mistakes. But then, like I said, there are some mistakes that are extreme. So if you don't have people around you that can quickly guide you and redirect you, if you don't have people that are close to you that mean well for you, most people would have gone out of line if they were not living with their mom or their dad anymore. Some people live with their friends, and there's little or nothing your friend can do.
Yeah.
Especially if you are friends that you are not accountable to. So if you like, you go to club 10 times a week, that's not your friend's business. Stay in your room, I stay in my room, let's mind our business. But then if you have people that you're accountable to, they can redirect you. There are some people that they've altered their destiny because of some decisions that they made. Some people have the opportunity to repent. Some people is just, it's just too late. Yeah.
Okay, another thing I like about the book is that you used a lot of personal stories, like you were using your experiences. Absolutely. Did you feel like you said too much?
At some point. So, like before we started shooting, I was sharing with them. So I gave my mom the book to read. In one of the chapters, I spoke about how I lost my virginity, and I gave my mom the book to read. And my mom is very Christian, like she's very spiritual. And she was just, I don't understand. Maybe in her mind, she was thinking I was a virgin. And like she was surprised. And the next day, she called me for a meeting. We prayed, and then after, while she was praying, she was putting like subtle words that, Lord, even after all the things that He has done, we thank you. And I'm like, if I didn't put this in the book now, she would not have seen all these things that I've done. But why I share these experiences is that I want people reading to relate, to know that, this guy that is writing this is not like he's one saint or he's telling us something that cannot be done. It's what I've gone through and I've done, and I just want to share with people that are reading to them.
Okay, one of the chapters you talked about, finding your identity. So in an earlier video that we shot, the Vox Pop, there was a question about premarital sex, and I got a lot of responses from people that said they were confused, and all that. Yeah, they know that, for instance, the people that are Christians, they know that this is what the Bible has said, or this is what their society or what their parents have said, but they were still confused. And they had talked about finding your identity, that knowing who you are and the standards you set for yourself, it helps you to make certain decisions. So does it also relate to a lot of all these controversial questions that people ask?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've learned, or another research that I've been on, I remember that I graduated in 2013, and they invited me back to my school where I finished from in 2014 to speak. And I remember when I was preparing the speech, I spoke about the zombie generation. And that was too far back 2014, but I saw an article last week. This is 2021, so in case you are watching this some other year, and they were talking about Gen Z, saying that the way that the media, social media, the new world order is trying to program people is to act like zombies. So they tell you what to do, how to think, and so if you don't have your own identity, then you would adopt the identity that they're trying to throw at you. So now, first of all, you have to know what you want to be. I'm telling some youths, they said that, how do you live a balanced life? I'm like, living a balanced life is not necessarily living a successful life. If you want to become a musician, you have to spend so much time in the studio. But studio time and church time might not be the same thing, so it's not balanced. But you want to be a successful musician. So if you know what you want to be, if you know, that's what forms your identity. So it helps you make decisions. If you want to be I don't even know how to put it. If you want to be a musician, I've used that before. If you want to be a teacher, you must read. Do you understand? So you must spend your time reading. So the identity is shaped by knowing who you are. Or sorry, your actions, decisions is shaped by knowing who you are. So once you know who you are, you know that there are some things that I cannot do, or there are some things that I can't get lost into. So at some point in my life, so when I was, like my friend was a hip hop star, so we're traveling from state to state. It was sweet, I can't lie. We're balling, and then this day I just stood and I'm like, is this what I want to do? You understand? Because it's from one show to another, paparazzi, different women speaking different language. It was nice, like. But then I just sat down to myself, because before I traveled, I already had this understanding of this is who I want to be, this is what I want to do. At that time, I came to a realization that this is not who I am. This is it. It might be sweet, it might be comfortable, it might be luxurious, but this is not what I want to be. So it helped me rechannel my journey or my direction, basically. So identity is important. You need to know who you are. You need to know what you want to become. So it helps you make some certain decisions.
Okay, so I like the fact that you touched on the media. So yeah, I hear you that a lot of times we've, even from our foundation, from our background, we've built, based on what has been inculcated into us, who we want to be. Well, here we have the media, telling, this story and making what you've known look like
It's nonsense.
rubbish. Like, okay, yesterday I think I saw a video that was shared by one of these TV stations in Nigeria, and we were talking about how a boy said, I think it's just a boy of 7 years, I can't remember his age, that he enjoys killing, and that's because he has watched a lot of, on media and how the media even talks about it and all. So yes, I have my identity, I know what it is, I know where I stand, I know the standards, I know the values that are expected of me. But then I have the media, retelling it and making it look like, okay, just to give an example, for instance, from the biblical aspects, from someone from the Christian background, we know what the Bible has said on premarital sex. It's clear about it. But we find the media downplaying that and making it look like there are no consequences for it. A lot of people would, we expect the physical consequences, like maybe unwanted pregnancy or STDs or a lot of other stuff. But we don't get that. So how do you, find a balance and still maintain your identity and not get swamped by
the media?
Yes.
So the media, there's no way we won't be influenced by the media. But then there is also we consciously making effort to reinforce our beliefs. So if you believe that you are a Christian and you are born again, you have to then study the Word of God more, because it then helps solidify what you believe. But if you are just normal and random, because the media or the people that are working on their agendas or ideologies are working over time. So it's in cartoons, it's in music videos of your favorites. There was a time that I used to wear bling bling too, because I was listening to Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, and my dad hates bling bling, but I was away from home, so I had liberty to wear bling bling and everything. And at that point, I had to then choose my identity. It was not even about what my dad has taught me. Like right now, I tell people that being a Yoruba boy is it gives me so much joy and pride. People will say why. I feel that is the basis of our identity. So when somebody is trying to downplay on your culture, at some point you have identity crisis, because you don't even know where you stand. Are you American? And what the Western world does is that they try to glorify their own beliefs, ideology over every other thing. Do you understand? So you must stand at a point. It's good to be exposed. It's good to get all this knowledge so that you are not outdated. But then you must reinforce your own beliefs. So do the things that make sure that your beliefs are reinforced. So if it's the beliefs that they are trying to sway you over, then you read the scriptures and hear what the scripture says about it. If it's your mom or dad you want to go and sit down with and you ask them, oh, what do you think about so and so? So one thing that I've learned, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much.
No,
one thing that I've learned is that sometimes we disagree with our mom and or dad, and sometimes they are wrong. I'm not saying they are right all the time, but what I've learned is that they've seen more of life than we have. So growing up for me, I and begin to see from their own lens. It's like if I see a boy do some certain thing, a young boy do some certain things, because I'd gone through it or I've seen my friend do it and I know how his life ended, I can quickly advise. It might not necessarily be, it might not end like that, my friend, but he might be heading towards that path. So because of my own experience, I can quickly give the advice. So sometimes when they tell us don't do some things, it's like, why? We're smart enough, we know how to maneuver this thing. You can be smart enough to maneuver it, but then it doesn't stop the fact that this might be the end, or this might be a result of, or this might be a, what's the word now? This might be the negative impact of what you choose to do, basically. So you have to reinforce your beliefs. Reinforce your beliefs. So yeah.
Okay. So do you think now this going away from the book, just a follow up with what you said. So do you think there is a gap that the older generation, so it's a 2-in-1 question. Do you think there is a gap that the older generation needs to fill to help us, especially those of us in our 20s and young adults, to properly settle in well and know that, because I feel like a lot of us have so much energy and we live for the present, not considering the consequences of our action in the future. We talk so much about living the present, you only live once, and exactly, and all of that. So do you think that there's a gap the older generation needs to fill to help us?
I feel like in them passing their message across, they have to do it in love. One thing that I've noticed about the older generation is that they believe that once I'm older than you, I'm right, automatically. So, and that then wouldn't give room for us to be able to relate on some certain levels. Because for the younger guys, like people that are even younger than me, we want to challenge the status quo. So while we are challenging this status quo, you should be able to tell us and say, okay, no, I'm not fighting with you, I'm not disagreeing with you, but A equals B and B equals C. Then we sit down, we understand, we analyze it, because you cannot just tell us, sit down there, don't stand up because it's bad. We're like, I don't understand. Google is there, so I'll Google and say, if I stand up, will I die? It says no. And I'm like, and I stand up and I'm like, I'm not dead. So why are you asking me to sit down there? But if you had said, oh, I think that you need time to rest, because rest does this thing to you. So you don't have to be walking around, just sit for a while. It makes you re-energize or something, and then I understand where you're coming from. But not that sit down, it doesn't work that way. So I think that when they are passing their ideologies across or their advices, they should do it from a place of love, and also make sure that there's understanding, mutual understanding, communication, basically, not orders and commands.
Thank you. So in one of your chapters, I think is chapter either 28 now, you have talked about contentment and complacence. So you were trying to talk about instant and delayed gratification, where a lot of people, you just get, like I was watching Smart Money Woman. I'd read the book, and then the lady just got promoted, I think to a junior vice president, and she needed a change of car. Her car was bad, so it was not negotiable. Yes, she needed a change. But then the kind of car she was going for, she wanted to buy a Benz or or something. And her partner was saying that it's okay to buy a car, but you don't have to go for, knowing your financial strength. You just came out of debt, and then So I know that a lot of us too, once we make one small money, we want to live that life and all of that. So when do we really draw the line? Yes, I need something. It's a need, it's not even a want. But then how do I know that, okay, I'm not overdoing it, so I'm not getting into debt, or I'm not going to somehow affect my tomorrow?
Okay, so primarily, one thing that I tell people is that, this is not my idea, but if you can't buy something twice, I'm not sure it's time for you to buy it. Except if it's like maybe your business, it's for your business, you want to use it to make money, something that will generate money, fantastic. But if it's something of luxury, imagine I have 1 million naira, that's all I have in my savings, and I take 750,000 to go and buy an iPhone 13. Do you understand? And imagine I buy it and then I step out of the store and it breaks. And then they tell me that to fix that screen is 150k. So that's 800k of my money gone like that on iPhone. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's not that you can't get that iPhone, but get it when you know that it's nothing. And I feel that we get value from what we wear. Young people of nowadays, we get value from what we wear. So I wear a Gucci shoe, I wear a Prada belt, I carry a Birkin bag
And
or
you look
Birkin,
rich.
and then you might not necessarily be rich. You just looking rich. How about that? You see people that have billions who just wear t-shirts and jeans. They don't need to show you that they are rich. You know that they are rich. So instead of you trying to look rich for people, why not build value? So build your value that by the time you wear the wristwatch, people will look at you and say, you're wearing Apple wristwatch of 200K. We know you can buy 500k watch, or you can. Do you understand?
Yeah,
so don't because, and then also don't do anything to please anybody. And that's the world that we live in because of Instagram. Sometimes me too, I want to post a dope pass, and Instagram has made it look like I can't sit in my house and post a picture because it's not too. I want to go to the lobby. I want to go to the lobby of Transport Hilton, Marriott, just to look very rich and everything. And that's affecting a lot of people.
Sure.
Because I'm sorry to digress. There's somebody that told me that I was very broke. I need money. Guys, send me even that 5K. And I'm like, okay, I was even thinking about sending money. So I met up with the guy. The guy's using an iPhone 12. And I'm not saying that he should go and sell the iPhone 12.
Yeah.
But then 5K he needed the money to buy a form to apply for some skill acquisition stuff. But you're using an iPhone 12. That phone, if you sell iPhone 12 at this point, that's 400K.
Can get another.
You can even get an iPhone, but he wants to be on that iPhone 12. I'm not even using an iPhone 12. Me that I want to give you this 5K. So I feel that we do things instead of us building value because of the instant gratification, because I want them to feel like I'm a big boy. I want them to feel like, and also it's the culture that we're in. That's why you see people that are stealing our money are being celebrated because we celebrate money. In Nigeria as a whole, we don't even celebrate sense, or once we see that this guy is set to. So we all know, I'm not going to call names, but there's an Instagram celeb that just got arrested, or not just got arrested, but got arrested because he was flaunting wealth. But even when they caught him and they saw that it was a fraudster, people were still celebrating. They're like, free watch, free watch. Okay, I said his name. Anyways, I remember that I'm like, this guy was swindling people. So when did we lose our moral? So because he's rich now, because he does give away, we should ignore the fact that he was making people cry, was making organization crash because he wants to buy a Bentley or he wants to buy a Benz. So if you are not contented, you'll be forced to do a lot of things that are out of your that might have negative impact on you. So contentment is good, and I feel like once you're contented, then you're good to go because life is in stages and men are in sizes. So today you might not be able to afford an iPhone 12. Tomorrow it might be a brand that is dashing you 10 iPhone 12 because you are now valuable. Do you understand? So, but then if you think that that's what brings value to you, then you are not valuable yet.
Thank you. That was very deep. Thank you. Okay, so we're closing, but I want to add, there was something you said in chapter 26, if I'm correct. You talked about dieting and exercise. So, I want to put you on the spot now. Have you repented from mass consumption of junks?
Well, so it's even worse now because now I'm married. And I used to like exercise a lot. But the nature of my job, by the time it's evening, so I just want to go home and sleep. And by the time I get home too, there's one very heavy meal waiting for me. And on a normal day, I know that it takes discipline. All of us are still just working on ourselves. But nowadays, let me give you guys the expo. Because I told you at the beginning, I'm committed to the things of God. I just fast. So if I just do 14 days fast, for me, it's like weight loss. People start looking at me and say, you've lost so much. So I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Oh my God.
So I'm fasting to
But then you also fasting to lose weight.
Absolutely. So it works that way. But then junks are still in the fridge. You know, even if you don't want to take it, like if I say I want cake, you just open the fridge one day and you see cake, you just cut small, and the small will become more. And yeah. So.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Final question: do you think so we've agreed that your 20s are a very delicate stage, and even though you found your identity, you still need that support circle, support system. And do you think there are enough resources out there, maybe in terms of materials or platforms or even books like the one you've done that would help people?
Yeah. So one thing that I also noticed, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like young people naturally, including me, I used to force myself. We don't like reading.
True.
So what I would have advised people to do is if we can do audiobooks, if we can turn this book into movies, series, short interviews like this, because people like to watch, like most people spend so much more time on their phones nowadays. So I tell you, reading books I wrote about an app and I think you asked about it.
Yes.
The reason why I read book on that app is that the books are summarized. So in 30 minutes I've finished the whole book and I'm like, okay. And I feel very fulfilled. Even though I know that I just finished reading they will summarize a 400-page book into like maybe 5 slides. And me, I'm happy because at least they summarize it. I feel that there are resources out there, but people are not eager to get it. One thing that I tell people, one of the most important factors towards success or towards living your dream life is the circle that you keep. So sometimes you might not read books or you might not be inspired to read books, but because of the circle that you keep, you want to level up. Because there are some times that you want to have conversations and people are talking and you're there because you don't have an idea of what they're saying. In fact, they can't be your friend if you don't have an idea of what you're saying. So you try to keep friends that will make you level up. Like some people that if I hear that they're in town, they're like, far. Asiwaju, I did town, I have to go and sit down and then just know what's going on. It's not like I'm trying to be intimidated, but really I just need to catch up because these people are there. Like, so they are friends that make you level up. You want to read, you want to know what's happening, you want to understand financial markets, you want to understand what's going on in the IT world, you want to know the only aspect that I'm not catching up is movies. I don't really watch, but I said they've had the movie and they're like, So growing up, my mom would say I don't know how to interpret it in English, but I'll say it to you, but I'll try to interpret it. He said any time so she made me hate TV. So it means that the person that we are looking at is not supposed to be looking elsewhere or something. I don't know if I thought. Do you want to open it? I think
I'm not sure, but the person we are looking up to
should not be distracted or should not be so something like that. So she made me hate TV because when she comes home and we're watching TV, she'll switch it and say anytime walking more. So basically finally I just feel that people should keep the right circle. It helps you a whole lot with the information that you get, with opportunities. There are some people that you chat with that is only babes they want to tell you about. There are some people that is job opportunities they want to tell you about. There are some people that is the new updates that are telling you about, that do you know that you can do this, and they are like, I didn't know that. Then you start exploring. So the circle that you keep is really important. Make sure that you keep the right circle. I have my colleague in church, when he preaches, you know that this guy has done research. So when they ask me to preach, I can't just go and bring nonsense to the stage. And so he's teaching me how to level up. So when it's my turn to preach, I'll go and do research. You understand? Because the people in the crowd are sitting there and they're like, about to preach me last weekend. About to go preach now. So and that's why I say you have to find yourself in the right circle. Even if you don't want to level up, you level up first. If it's sense aspects, any aspect, so the right circle is really important.
And I think you touched on that in your book as well. You talked about your network is a network.
Yes.
And a whole lot. I mean, there's so much in just before your 30s that, trust me, I read the ebook and it's just about 60 pages tops. That's plus the cover.
Easy to read.
Yes, and it's very affordable. I mean, if you follow him on Instagram, we'll drop his Instagram handle so you can just click the link to get the book. It's something you can read. If you're a fast reader, you read in 2 hours. So I want to say thank you very much for honoring us, for blessing our generation with this book.
Absolutely.
We are very grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
God continue to empower you.
Amen.
We've come to the end of this episode of My 20s. We hope you like it. Please tell us what you think about this video. Share your comments. We'll drop the link to the book as well and his Instagram page in case you're interested in purchasing a copy of this book. Thank you very much. Please like, subscribe, share,
Yes.
and stay tuned to our channel. Thank you.